take some good notes, you may want to grab a pen and paper to do that. We're going to be covering a lot of material today. But my name is Sue White. I'm with a business training company, and we have affiliates all over the country that are getting the word out about online marketing and training with that. Our company's been doing training on a regular basis for local chambers of commerce and for SCORE, which is the Service Corps of Retired Executives, since 2010. So we have a lot of experience in the area of training. And we'd like to welcome you today as a local business owner. And some of the topics that we're going to cover today are, why do you need to market your business online? Now, you're here on this webinar, so I think you probably understand the importance of marketing your business online. We're just going to cover a few points there. We're going to talk about the old way versus the new way of marketing your business. Things have really drastically changed as far as online marketing is concerned in the last, I would say the last year or so. So changes have been made with the search engines, and changes in the way that people are looking for your products and services have changed. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to cover the 7 secrets of being found online. So what's important today, you know, how it can benefit your business. So that's what we'll be covering. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is, do you need an outside consultant in order to do your online marketing? And the answer is sometimes. So we'll be covering that and taking a look at that as we go through here today. So let's talk about, why do you need to market your business online? And by the way, I ask you to locate the questions box on the right-hand side of your screen. So at the end of the webinar, if you have questions, I'll be glad to answer those questions. But be posting those as we go throughout the training today. Just a brief overview here, there's over 2 billion people online. People are looking for your products and service, even if they are shopping locally. It's been shown that 93% of the people will go online. And David mentioned that he's in the mortgage business. So before somebody decides to purchase a new home, or before they decide to do a refi, or maybe a home equity loan, something like that, most of them are going to go online and see what's available and who they should be going with to make that decision. The majority of the web traffic is driven by the big 4. We used to say the big 3, Google, Bing, and Yahoo, but now Yelp is becoming a very important search engine. So it is important for your business to be found on all 4 of these search engines. That's where most of the web traffic comes from. So we'll talk about more about those here shortly. Now, what used to affect, the old way in other words, what used to affect page 1 ranking? And when I talk about page 1 ranking, I'm primarily referring to Google, but everything that we talk about today applies to all 4 of those sites that we just mentioned. And in the past, what was really important was to do what we call keyword stuff your content. So you would have a page on your website, and let's say your keyword was home mortgage or home refinance, something like that, if you're in the mortgage business, or the other gal was an accountant, you know, it would be accounting or bookkeeping, something like that. And we would put a page up and just put that word as many times as we could on the page, over and over and over and over again, to attract the attention of the search engines. The other thing that used to be really important was keyword domain names. So if you could get, for example, again using David, Jacksonville Beach mortgage, or mortgage business, something like that, .com, then you could almost guarantee that you would be on page 1. And now Google is kind of frowning on those. They really want your business name to be the name of your domain name of your website. And the other thing was backlinks. And We're going to be talking about backlinks more here in just a few minutes. But all it is a link from one site over to your site. And in the past, it was Google really looked at, boy, if you had a bunch of links on your site must be important. And then they realized that a lot of these links were coming from sites that weren't relevant to your particular industry. They were just links from any site and every site out there. So it really wasn't a vote for your site saying that your site was relevant to what the people that were keying in the keyword into the search engine were looking for. And in the past, this kind of prevented the average local business from doing their own marketing because you had to have special tools that got all these links going to your site and could push out 100 links in a day and that kind of thing. So these were the things that helped you or almost guaranteed you a page 1 ranking up until about December of last year. And then things really changed because Google started taking a close look at these and saying, okay, people are trying to manipulate the search engines and what they want to provide. Remember that the search engine's goal is to provide the end user the most relevant information to what they're searching for. So when they type in something in the search engines, tax help, for example, then they want the sites that give them the most information about that to be returned to the end user. And they don't want a page that just has a bunch of keywords on it that isn't providing any good information to the end consumer. So that is, that is their goal, is to provide the end consumer with what they're looking for. And these things weren't doing that. So what is the new way? How did things change in order to be ranked on page 1? Well, first of all, good content that relates to the search term. Good content has held true for page 1 ranking for years now. If you are answering the question that the person's asking, where do I go to get a home loan, for example, or where do I go for an emergency plumber? If you can answer that question when they type it into the search engines, then your website is more likely to be on page 1. So good content, that is fresh content, that is relevant to what the person is looking for. The next thing that's very important is predominance. Now remember I said a few minutes ago that the way that people search has changed over the last year or so. It used to be that someone would type something into the search engines, let's just say emergency plumber, and Google would return the 3 to 7 plumbers that were the closest to the IP address where the person was located. So that would be listed there, and the person would just go and say, okay, I'm just going to go with number 1 and give them a call. So they would click on number 1, go to their whoever came up first, go to their website and give them a call. And that used to be the way that people would search. And so, of course, the goal was always for that precious first slot on the top. Well, now people are being a little more selective and realizing that not everybody on the web is, what they claim to be. So a lot of times what people are doing is doing an initial search, like, for example, emergency plumber, and then when the names come up, they'll pick one of those names based on the number of reviews. We'll talk about reviews here in a minute too, but the number of reviews or their address, their location to the person, that kind of thing. And then they'll see, oh, the name of the company is ABC Plumbing Company. So then they'll turn around and put that name into the search engines and see how predominant you are on the Internet. How many other places are you listed on the Internet? And along with that, how many people have reviewed you, what are other people saying, that kind of thing. So your goal should be, when somebody types in the name of your company, maybe a friend recommended you to them, and they go to the Internet and they type in the name of your company, and I'll just go back to the ABC Plumber as an example. You should dominate the first page of the Internet. Actually, you should dominate the first 3 to 4 pages of the internet. And how do you do that? You do that with predominance. Well, get yourself listed on as many sites as you possibly can. Angie's List, Super Pages, Yellow Pages, Yelp, all the different search engines. You know, we're going to talk about social media again, having your social media pages set up. So that's what I mean by predominance. How many other places are you listed on the internet? And that's one of the things that the search engines really look at when they look to see whether that you should be placed on page 1. The next thing is social media activity. A few years ago, it was important to have, for example, a Facebook page. But did that affect your ranking? Not really. However, in about the last year, it has had a tremendous effect on your ranking. Now, I'm not saying that you need a Facebook page. What I'm saying is, we'll talk about social media a little bit more here in a minute. You need to be on social media sites that are relevant to your industry. If you're a business to consumer, then you need a Facebook page. If you're a business to business, then you need more of a LinkedIn page. However, everybody needs to be on Google+. If you don't have a Google+ account, that should be one of your first priorities of things you want to do. And it's like Facebook. You set up your personal account, and then you set up a business page from that. So you need to be on Google. You need Google+. You need to be active. That is Google's social media site, and your activity on that and other people commenting on what you have to say plays a huge role in your ranking. And going forward, it's going to play an even more important role than it has in the past. The other thing is video marketing. And if you're not putting video on your website, if you don't have the YouTube channel, it's something you really need to consider doing for your online marketing. And I want to kind of skip this for just right now because it's one of the 7 secrets that I'm going to get into more in depth in just a minute. Reviews is another thing. You really need to make sure that you have a system in place for collecting reviews. And there's a couple ways you could do that. You could have a postcard that when you do your when somebody purchases your product, or if you're in a service, right after you've completed the service, you give them a card that says, please review us. And people are funny. People will do what you ask them to do if you give them the instructions. So on one side of the card, it might list 4 different places that you would like for them to post a review, and on the back side of the card, some instructions, because most of the sites require that they create an account. So, you know, if you create an account, look us up, they'll post a review. And ask people to do that. If you just verbally say it, you know, can you please review us, they're going to say, oh, sure, and walk out the door, and then they're not going to do it. So have something you can give them where they can post a review, or a way to collect reviews. Maybe send them to your website and they post a review there. Or back to the video, you can do video testimonials. Those are huge. Put those on your website. So reviews are very important. They are starting to really play into ranking on the search engine. So you want to make sure you have some good reviews. And then mobile. Google is looking at your sites, the sites that are they're putting on page 1. They want those sites to be both come up on a desktop, on an iPad or a tablet, and on a mobile device. So they're looking to see if you have what is called a responsive site. You want to make sure that that is what you have on your website. So that's just an overview of, you know, what used to count as far as page 1 ranking is concerned and what comes into effect today. So let's talk about the 7 secrets of being found online. Secret number 1, it all starts with your keywords. You want to make sure you know what your target audience would key into the search engines to find your particular product or service. And even if you think you know what it is, I'd still recommend that you go through this exercise and find out exactly what your keywords are. And we're going to give you a tool for that here in just a minute. But it's funny, things like we recently did some work for a plumber. And at first I wasn't going to do the keyword research. How many ways can you look up plumber? But when I did the keyword research, I found out that the word plumbers, plural, was searched on almost 3 times more than the word plumber. So that's important when I go and add my content, because if people are looking for plumbers, plural, and I only write about plumber, I'm missing out on a lot of people that could be finding the site. So again, if you already think you know what it is, go ahead and take the time and do that research anyway. And these next 2 things, when I say choose your battles and don't spread yourself too thin, apply to sometimes, like the plumber example I just gave. You know, you've got plumber, you've got plumbers, you've got drain cleaning, you've got emergency plumber. You only have a few keywords to work with. But in some businesses, for example, if you are a real estate agent, okay, you might have real estate agent, you have buyer's agents, you have seller's agents, you have broker, you have all different ways, all different kinds of keywords that you could use. Personal injury attorney is another one. You know, you have car accident, truck accident, malpractice, Social Security, workman's compensation, all kinds of things that you could be listed under. Well, we recommend when you first get started to choose between 3 and 5 keywords and really concentrate on those. And it could be a keyword, and we're also going to talk about a little while what we call long tail keywords, because what's happening is, like I said, things have changed as the way people search. Instead of just saying plumber, they might say, I need an emergency plumber. So that whole term, if you have that whole term, I need an emergency plumber, on your website, maybe on your home page, when they type that in, you're more likely to end up on page 1. And people are typing in longer sentences like that because they're actually not typing them in because of cell phone devices. They're speaking into their cell phone. So they're speaking in full sentences. Or before, when they were doing a search, they'd search on 1 word or just 2 words. So keep that in mind when you're picking your keywords. And there's a tool called the Google Keyword Planner. And if you just go in and Google that, you can go to that site. Now, you need to sign up for it because it is primarily used for people doing AdWords accounts. I don't know if you ever heard of the pay-per-click advertising on Google, but you don't need to, be planning to do that to use this tool. This tool, when you go in and you sign up with a email account and a password, when you go in and sign up for it, and then you can just type in 1 or 2 keywords, it's going to give you a list. It's going to show you, first of all, how many times your keyword is searched for, and then alternative keywords that you may not have even thought about. So take some time to go into Google Keyword Planner and do a little bit of planning, because everything else that you do on the web is going to be based on your list of keywords. I've already referenced this a little bit, but well, back to content is king. Search engines feed on content. You need to have fresh content out there on a regular basis. And when I say regular basis, our recommendation is every 7 to 10 days, you're putting fresh content. It might be a blog post, adding some new information to your site, but doing something to your site on an ongoing basis. And what that does, it feeds the search engines. And every time you make a change, the search engines keep crawling your site and they index your site. So every time they see, oh, there's more information here, there's good information here, then it pushes you up in the rankings for your site. Now, do you have to post a whole new, brand new page all the time? The answer is no. Maybe you have some new photos or some new images for your business. So you go into the site and you change up the photos and the images. And when you do that, you want to make sure you tag them with your keyword that you found on the first step number 1. So it could be changing up an image. It could be going in and adding another paragraph or changing out a paragraph. But make sure that on a regular basis you're going into your site and you're doing something new and something different with that. And you want to make sure that you naturally include your keywords in your content. Don't use it over and over and over again. In fact, the rule of thumb is if you're going to do, let's say you're doing a blog post and your keyword is home mortgage, for example. Home mortgage should only appear on that page one time for every 150 to 200 words. You want to switch it around as you're doing that. You might say home mortgage. You might, again, say mortgage for your home. You might say mortgages in Jacksonville Beach. So switching it around on the page and your content. I don't have a bullet point on this, but you may want to make a note of it. It used to be that we could get away with a 300 to 400 word page and it would be fine. Now it's more like 600 to 700 words is what you want on every single page that you do and every single post that you do, between 600 and 700 words there on that. So, you know, having good content, like I said, is what the search engines really feed on. Key number 3 is having a social media presence. And I mentioned that just a moment ago, but it is becoming extremely important to the search engines for your ranking. They want to know that you are active and you're building relationships on the social media sites. So you want to make sure, first of all, that you add sharing buttons to your website, and you want to promote that sharing. Don't just assume because you have a little Facebook button there that people know that they're supposed to click on that Facebook button and share your blog post that you just did. You need to tell them what to do. You need to say in the post, at the bottom of the post when you're done, you know, if you found this to be helpful, please share this with your friends on Facebook, and then put the little button there. Or please help us by tweeting out this blog post. So asking people what you want to do and switch it up on the different posts. You know, one time ask to share it on Facebook, another time say, would you please tweet this out, or would you please share this on LinkedIn or Google+. Remember I talked about how important Google+ is. So ask people to do a +1 on Google+ for you. So put the buttons there and then be active in asking people to share on the social media sites. And it's all about engagement. And again, I don't have this as a bullet point, but it's important. What I would do would be to have a schedule. So if you are, you should be active on at least 3, possibly 4 social media sites, depending on who your target audience is. Google+ will always be one of those. But it could be that you're on LinkedIn or Pinterest or Twitter or Facebook, but choose the ones that are the best for your particular target audience and create a schedule. For example, on Monday, you might ask a question. So you ask a question about, you know, what scares you the most about buying a new home, let's say. And then Tuesday, you go in and you engage with the people that had answered that particular question. Make sure your question's not just a yes or no answer, if they have to type something in. So you engage with the people that answer it. Maybe Wednesday, you create a blog post that answers that question, talks about what people said, you know, and then you post on your social media that there is now an article out there about that. And then on Thursday, you could go in and do a short video. And you can, we'll talk about video in a minute, how you can take that blog post and turn it into a video. Then you put the video out on your social media sites. And then Friday might be tip of the week, something like that. But you have a regular thing where people know what to expect from you and that you're posting on a regular basis. Because I can't tell you how many times I've gone and looked at somebody's Facebook page and say, this is great. They've got a great banner. They've got, you know, it looks beautiful. And then I look down and there's like nothing going on, you know. Maybe they're posting once a month on there. And the average business that is successful using social media post at least once a day, Monday through Friday. So that's just, engagement. It's so important when it comes to your ranking now. We talked about links a minute ago, so let's go into this a little bit more. What Google now looks at a link, it's a vote for your site. And so they look at where that link is coming from. Is that link relevant to what you're doing? Is it a local link? I think I've got that on here. I say some votes matter more than others, and local votes matter the most. And what do I mean by local vote? A local vote is, let's say you're a member of your local Chamber of Commerce. That link from their website over to your website is very important as far as Google is concerned if you are a local business, because they look at that as a local vote for your site. Another thing you should do is go in and Google whatever the name of your town is, okay? So I'm just going to use, let's say, Los Angeles. So you might say Los Angeles Business Directories. So wherever you're at, Google Business Directories. It will give you a long list of directories, probably 95% of them. It's free to go in and add your business to that directory. So it's a local vote from a local directory over to your site, and that's what you want to look for. A lot of the TV stations and the newspapers will have business directories on them where you can go and post your site. And speaking of newspapers, a really important, valuable link is to do a press release. And you should be doing a press release at least once a month. And it can be on a wide variety of things. Maybe you've added a new product, you've added a new employee, you've made some changes, you just want to do some tips, maybe you joined a networking group, whatever you've done. Maybe you did some ongoing education, that kind of thing. Do a press release about it. Make sure that you include the link to your website in the press release, because all the newspapers have online entities to their paper. So that link will be on there from the newspaper going over to your site. And they usually leave those up for quite some time. So that's a very valuable link as far as Google is concerned. Now I want to just briefly mention here a new trend that's happened. When Google came down and said, having hundreds of links to a site that are coming from sites that are not relevant, you have a link from a phishing site over to your mortgage site. That doesn't make sense, to have that kind of a link. So when that happened, there were some unscrupulous, I'll say, people in our industry that would look at someone and say, oh, this particular company is in slot number 1, and I want to knock them out of slot number 1 so that my client can be in slot number 1. So they would use those tools I talked about that create massive backlinks, and they'd push those backlinks to the website that was in the number 1 slot. Google would see that and would knock them off of number 1. They would be buried down on page 10 or 11, 12, something like that. So they were using something that Google had meant for good, and they're using it for something that was turned into something for bad. So here is a site, Majestic, M-A-J-E-S-T-I-C-S-E-O, MajesticSEO.com. And what you can do is take your website name and put it into their site. They will give you a list of all the backlinks going to your site. And then I believe it's over on the right-hand side, it ranks them. So if it's a 0 or a 1, it means it's a very poor link. And what you need to do is contact the person, the webmaster of that site. You need to go to the site, find a contact, some kind of a contact, and request that that link be removed. And there's also a process that you can go through with Google to get them removed. Now, I wouldn't be real concerned about this unless you were ranking very well and all of a sudden you fell off the face of the earth and nobody can find you. Then this is the first place I would check. And it wouldn't hurt maybe, like once a month to go into this particular site and just check your links. And if all of a sudden in one day you see all these links starting to come to your site, it means somebody's, unless you did it, which you probably didn't, but it means that somebody is trying to manipulate your site. So you want to just keep a check on that. Google's trying to figure out ways to have this not happen, but it's tough because you can't stop somebody from doing a link from their site to your site, but you can report them to Google, and Google will look into it, and if they see a lot of that happening, they'll just take down the site of the person that's causing the problem. So it's just something you need to be aware of and something you need to check on periodically.
Now the next thing, number 5 secret, is video. And Google loves video. Remember that Google owns YouTube, so of course they want YouTube to be successful, and it has been shown that a video will get ranked 5 times faster than content. So you want to make sure that you roll the camera on a regular basis. Now, does this mean that you need to hire a professional photographer? No. You can take video with your cell phone and post that up. Now, the higher quality the video, the better. And you want to make sure that it is either number 1, informational, or that it's number 2, entertaining, funny, that kind of thing. So make sure that you're doing that on a regular basis. And then when you post the video up to YouTube, and by the way, the video should be, in most cases, less than 3 minutes. 2 minutes is about optimum, unless, of course, it is some kind of a training video or an how-to video. Then you would want to make it a little bit longer. But when you post it up to YouTube, make sure that you have used your keyword within the video, and make sure that the keyword is in the video title and in the description of the video, and also in your tags. So you can use your keyword frequently there when you're posting the video up to YouTube, and then you can work on spreading the word on that through social media and getting the views up, and then it will rank well on the search engines. Now the next thing is what we call leveraging your channels. We've already talked about YouTube. You should be posting something out to YouTube on a regular basis. And one thing I didn't mention on the one before, but if you are a local business owner, you should be involved in your local community. So community type videos are great. If there's an event going on, that you video some of that and post it up to your YouTube channel and onto your site, and let people know via social media about the event that's going on in your community. Google Plus, I've already mentioned that, how extremely important it is. And a lot of businesses ignore Craigslist. Now, Craigslist has a page ranking of 9, which means it's a highly valuable site as far as Google is concerned. And you will often find Craigslist ads appearing on page 1 of Google when people Google for a local, let's say, plumber. If you have an ad on Craigslist, a lot of times that will appear on page 1. Now, you want to make sure when you post your ad, of course, that there is a link back to your website, and that will help with your ranking. And I also have Pinterest listed here, which is another social media site that has become extremely popular in the last year or so. And usually we associate that with businesses that are highly visible. But it could be, for example, you could take a blog post and put your bullet points that you've made, or the key points that you've made within that blog post, on a PowerPoint slideshow. So you put it on PowerPoint, make several different slides from that post, add some graphics to it, and then in PowerPoint, when you do a file save as, one of your options that you can save it as a JPEG, which creates an image from each one of those slides. And then on a daily basis, you could go into Pinterest and post tip number 1, for example. And then the next day go in and post tip number 2 and create a board of the tips from your particular blog post that you've done. So you could do those tips, and then you could take that link to the tip number 1, put it out on your social media, go see our tip about this. And oftentimes, again, Pinterest pins, as they call them, will appear on page one of Google as well. So it's become very, very powerful in the social media realm. So get your content on them. Encourage people to go to review your particular thing that you've done. So if it's a YouTube video, you've posted it out on your social media, ask people to go and comment on it and Google Plus One it and review it, okay? So make sure you're doing that and it will help with your ranking. So number 7 of our secrets is optimize for local. So what do I mean by that? First of all, include your local keywords throughout the content. If you are in Los Angeles, let's say you're a dentist in Los Angeles, and throughout your content, you will say dentist Los Angeles or Los Angeles dentist, things like that throughout your site, including the name of the city that you're in along with your keyword. The other thing you will want to do is add your local address and your local phone number to every single page and every single post that is on your site. We usually put this at the bottom. And what I want to emphasize here is this information should be exactly as it is listed on your Google listing. So when you go to create your Google plus local listing, and those are those 3 to 7 listings that show up on page 1. Usually on page 1 at the top, you'll have your paid listings, then you'll have a couple of what we call organic listings, and then we have what's called, often referred to as a 7-pack, which is the local listings. When you go to create that, I would create a notepad document to keep track of exactly how you keyed in your name, exactly how you keyed in the address. So if on Google your address is 123 Main Street, and on Google you typed in ST for street, you want to make sure you do the exact same thing on all your pages and all your posts, and that will tie it together in the search engines. So get listed on all the local directories. I've already mentioned that, how to go in and find those local directories. Make sure you do that. Create local videos. I just mentioned that. If something's going on locally, create a video about it and then post it out on YouTube and on the social media sites. And get links from local organizations and businesses. So a local organization would be, for example, your local Chamber of Commerce. If you're a member there, you will have a link from their site over to yours, and this is a high valued link as far as Google is concerned. If you are a member of an organization such as Rotary or Satoma or some local networking group, BNI, if they have a website, make sure that your business is listed there and there's a link from their site over to yours, because this is a local link and Google loves the local links. Now, one question I often get is about online marketing. Is it worth it? And the return on online marketing has been very well documented. Does it happen overnight? No, it does not. It is something that you need to be consistent with on a daily basis. We recommend that you spend between 30 minutes and an hour a day on your online marketing. And we believe that you will get results. You will get new business from these efforts. A highly ranked website is working for you 24/7. So a lot of people do their searches at night after the kids are in bed. They're going in and working on things that they'd like to buy or services that they need. And your site can be working for you when your business is not open. And a lot of times, things that people don't think about is at some point you will want to sell your business and get on with something else you'd like to do. So if you have a site that is well ranked, it is a sellable asset. We have a client that's a flower shop, and they are in the process of selling their business. And their highly ranked website was one of the keys in getting a buyer for that business. Does online marketing require outside services? Do you need to hire someone to do this for you? Well, some aspects of online marketing still require a specialist, and one of those is text messaging campaigns. I didn't talk about those too much within here, but if you are in certain industries such as restaurants, text messaging has become very, very valuable, and it's often replacing email campaigns to do text messages instead. And that is something that you as a business owner probably cannot set up yourself. You will need an outside service for that. But other things you can do for yourself, or you could hire, let one of your employees do it. You could hire an intern to do it. You could use a son or a daughter. It is possible. Again, consistency is the key, and knowing what to do. So many people have asked us, how could they do this for themselves? And we've created a site called OnlineTrainingAcademy.biz. What is OnlineTrainingAcademy.biz? Well, it is a unique membership site. Within this site, we have easy to follow video training. All the training is what we call coffee break size videos. In other words, they are between 5 minutes and 20 minutes. And then there is also step-by-step downloadable instructions. So what you would do would be download the instructions, watch the video, and then go and do whatever it says to do on that particular video. All of this can be done in 30 minutes to an hour a day. There's also a place to ask your questions and to get answers to those questions. We also have easy to follow blueprints, and these blueprints cover things like search engine optimization, how to build that WordPress blog, various social media sites, reputation management, and so forth are all included within this site, where you can just download the blueprint, follow it along, start at the top, do each thing one thing at a time, and before you know it, you'll get new customers calling you because they found you on the internet. Now, there's also a place to find resources on this site. So if you want some help as you're going through the site and decide there's certain areas that you really don't want to do yourself and you'd like to hire someone, we have some resources there, local resources that can help you with that. So what do we provide? We keep the website current. We're regularly adding new videos. We schedule webinars with experts in their fields, and we have monthly Q&A sessions that are available to members of the site only. So as part of this membership site, you will get ongoing training to keep current on all the changes. Remember, I talked about the old way versus the new way. Things are always changing. So we keep you current on what is going on with online marketing. Now, what is your investment? Well, it's $99 a month. There's no long-term commitment. You can sign up for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever you want. And we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. And this investment of $99 a month is by company, not by employee. So you would sign up as a company, and then you can have your employees log in, go through the training, maybe maybe you want them to allocate that 30 minutes to an hour a day to doing this, and then they're adding a little bit more each day and each day. So how do you get signed up for the site? Well, you go to OnlineTrainingAcademy.biz/business. And I'm just going to quickly give you a look at this site. And here we are on the site. And what you can do initially is right here on the home page is a tour of the site. So you can click here, actually get a little tour. I think it's like 8 minutes long, and you can view what the site is all about. And then when you're ready to get going right here, if you just click here, it will take you to that page to sign up. But if you're already a member, you can click here, for example, on search engine optimization. And it says right here, start here. Now, if you're not this will be your login page if you're not already logged in. Since we are a member, we're just going to go ahead and log into the site. If you can click here, if you're not a member, again, to get information about signing up. And right here is that blueprint we talked about. It takes you into things like your Gmail account, keyword research. Remember, we talked about that as one of the #1 key to being found online. Here is extensive training on your keyword research. So we go into basics, we do a demo, We show you how to spy on your competition, how to get your domain name, and then we go into in other areas of search engine optimization, how to set up your Google listing, your Bing listing. Scroll on down here and see what else we have. Your Yahoo listing, your Yelp listing, other ways to get found online with citations and so forth. But each section has an overview. So if I come down here and you're going citation, what's that? Here's the citation overview. It explains everything. And then once you're finished with the optimization, you can go to WordPress. Now you don't have to take these in the order that they're listed here, but you can skip around and go to different sections. Again, here's that blueprint. And then social media. We have social media marketing, media campaigns, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn. All these different sites are listed here. And within each one, like that Google Plus, I talked about how important Google Plus is. So if I come here to Google Plus, it has how to set up your profile, how to work with circles, engagement. We talked about how important engagement is, working with communities, and so forth. So each one of those social media sections has several short videos on how to optimize that particular site for your business. And then reputation marketing. We talked about how important reviews are. So we give an overview here, and then how to post reviews, how to get reviews, press releases. Remember I mentioned that. Well, how do I do a press release? So this is all within the site, all for $99 a month, and you can take it for 1 month, or you could go for 3 months, whatever, how long you want to. There's no long-term commitment. So we encourage you to take a look at onlinetrainingacademy.biz/business. So if you have a question, just post it below this video. There's a place to post your question, and we'll get an email. We'll be glad to answer that question for you. But we look forward to having you on board. Remember the 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk involved for you. Get in, take a look at the site, see if this is something that will help you with your online marketing. We believe that it is, that it's a great alternative for many local business owners. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you on the inside.